Got the Merciless Lady back in the shop today. My shop, at least. Gonna be, had a new lump, clump, and thump starting in the driver's side rear, and it's the, tie rod, not tie rod, but, sway bar connector to, the suspension. I had that, go bad on the passenger side about 2 years ago, and actually during that time bought a second one, because it's an old car. If one thing breaks, probably its twin will eventually. So have it in part storage, and that's the project for today. Getting it back in. So figured I'd bring you along, or at least let you know what I'm doing. Don't know how much of a how-to car guy I want to be, or vlogger I want to be, but such as the project. Also got I'm going to be placing the glow plugs not relay, but the switch for it. I got a new stainless little push button, probably one of the most tactile switches I've ever had the pleasure of clicking. Hang on. Listen to this. Just listen. It's just one of the, like, it's so positive. The detent is so positive. I'm going to have fun every single time I turn the car on now. Push it in, glow plugs turn on, get to hold it there for 20 or so seconds, let it off, and head on down the road. So yeah, get to wire that in today, and then finish connecting up the pull cord. I have a manual adjuster for the temperature inside the internal vacuum controlled computer that these things were originally, well, still in there, originally designed for. With they went bad, so instead of paying $700 for something that's going to break again because they have just an Achilles heel designed into them, I went with a manual actuator, so I can literally open and close a ball valve to let in the jacket water from the engine into the cab to heat the cab, or shut it off manually, or adjust it anywhere between 0 and 100%. So I've got just that cord to do. So today's project is taking care of the Merciless Lady. But yeah, should be, well, it's going to be fun, I know that much. But shouldn't take all day, just a few projects. But yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'll let you know when I get this done and move on to the next one. How's that? Oh, the realities of owning an old car. So this here, so if I can put the light there, this here is a bump stop. So if the suspension completely collapses before the control arm, or the A-arm here, hits the chassis and does permanent damage, there's a big rubber boot here. But one of the realities of an old car is when you fix something, you work around a lot of other brittle parts because they're old and fatigued. And so when I was getting the ooh, that's not good. When I was getting the control arm for the, oh, come on, camera. I was getting this control arm for the new sway bar, or old sway bar, new control arm installed. I was swinging this around, and I bumped that, and it fatigued, cracked, and split away. So, created a little more work for myself, but the project is just about done on this one. Get in there. Yep. Attaches back to the rear of the hub of the caliper, up to the sway bar, and this sway bar transfers energy across the back of the vehicle to the other side of the wheels, so that way the vehicle stays level during a turn. When you make a left turn, all the everything wants to push to the right, carry with inertia, and as everything transfers to the right, the attachment on the other side pushes some of that energy back around and replants this wheel. So you don't have everything tipping, you are actually transferring energy back to the inside of the vehicle. Helps everything stay level. Car stuff. I like it. I think it's fun. I like thinking through the solutions that I'm installing to the problems that I newly have. But yeah, that project's about done. Gonna glue this up, probably some silicone, some shmoo it all up, fix it back, call it good. I mean, a little bit of time, calories, and energy expenditure is fine, but if I tried to fix all the problems this old girl had, well, I'd have to mortgage the house probably 2 more times, so that ain't happening. I'm going to drive her as she is and enjoy her as long as I can. Then when she falls to dust, I'll sweep up the dust and see if I can ride it a bit longer. But yeah, some of the realities of owning an old car. Gotta get your hands dirty and do some work, but I knew that going in, and I find it quite enjoyable. So, figure I'd just take you along with me. But yeah, tighten everything down, and I'll on to the next one. Alright, got it reattached. Good layer of RTV all around it. It was able to hold itself up in position, so the RTV will just solidify and hold it in place. It's not a high use thing, it's only an emergency thing, so it's only got to support its own weight. Unless, you know, I jump the car and bottom it out. I don't know. But it's there. It's going to stay there. Fixed enough. Good old RTV. It's a working man's best friend. Alright, on to the next project. Actually just finished it up. So to show you what I'm talking about. There's the ball valve with the that silver cord going off back next to a pull bar. Kind of like an old school choke for a carburetor, but in this case it's attached to that ball valve. That'll regulate my jacket water that goes into the cab, into the heating core, and allows heat or no heat to go into the car. So I'm going to set the camera down, maybe give you some light and pull that cord and let you see how it's supposed to work. Only the best lighting solutions for you. That is a flashlight and a paper towel. But it gets the shot. High quality production here. Spares no expense. And if you're wondering how it works on the inside, it's that pull knob, all this stuff. The only thing that works is the defrost for the blower. Turns everything on. The temp sensor, like I said, everything's been disconnected. So if I want heat, pull this knob here. Pull it out, that opens that valve, or push it back, that closes it for just normal air, recirculate cabin stuff. You can actually crack it a little bit and have some adjustment of your heat. So yeah, that's the manual solution to a manual $50 solution at most. A little bit of parts and labor to a $700 problem. I'll take it. Had to build a custom bracket behind here to angle this more towards the valve, because the way this curves, it steeps it this way. But not a little bit of brain work, a little bit of craftiness, a little bit of, I don't know, making your hands a little bit dirty. Solutions come to those who are willing to work, that's for sure. But yeah, glad to have that working again. The previous cable snapped because of the extra load. It was still angled this way. And so the strain of it broke, and so that's the custom bracket on the back side, which is basically a cylinder that I cut at an angle to force this bar out. It fixed the angling problem. That's pretty much it. And the glow plugs, I may it's getting a little late in the day. I'm going to probably put that project on hold. The toggle switch works just fine. The momentary switch eventually will go about right here, right above the hazard lights. But the momentary switch just guarantees that you'll never leave the toggle switch on, killing your battery. But just got to remember. So at this point, projects are done, or at least on the Mercedes. Well, thanks for joining me. Pulling the Mercedes back out of the shop. That's always an interesting affair. But yeah, that's kind of a realistic look of what it's like to own, operate, and care for one of these old cars. Get to be the owner to the driver, curator at times, tell people about the history, what I get to do with it. But everything has its price. Inexpensive old cars, repair's one of them. But also, you know, not getting carried away with what you want to do and when you want to do it. The glow plug relay switch, generally I don't like quitting on projects that I've got the car on the shop and I'm already there. But it involves tearing apart the center console, which I got a couple other projects which I need to do in that area anyhow. and I don't want to make 2 trips because it's an older car, and the more you move and take apart, the more likely you are to have happen what happened to that shock absorber boot down in the passenger side rear end, which is have something break. So opting to do less so I can do more eventually, and you know, not wanting to break the cardinal rule of self-repair, which is if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You can definitely get carried away and steal all the opportunity to enjoy what you currently have versus focusing on everything you have to fix. So, like anything else in life, it's a balance. But yeah, I enjoy this kind of stuff. I enjoy being able to care for old, neglected things and be able to. Well, it's just fun. So, yeah, I'll call it at that. And thanks again for joining me, and catch you later.